Star Wars fans have not been treated to a theatrically released Star Wars movie since The Rise of Skywalker came out 4 years ago. 3 new films were announced this past year at Star Wars Celebration: a post-The Rise of Skywalker film from Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy, an Origin of the Force film from James Mangold, and the culminating event of the Mandoverse from Dave Filoni. But, assuming these all make it through production, something Star Wars projects have struggled with recently, we won't see any of them until 2026 at the earliest, and that's only if the summer strikes didn't delay any of them too much. The WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes have had a noticeable impact on the film industry, not only delaying many projects, but also potentially changing the way they are told. Many fans have been operating under the assumption that the post-Rise of Skywalker film, starring Daisy Ridley, would be the next Star Wars movie. It was the furthest along, had its director already, and seemed to be making progress with the script. This was also reported on by various insiders in the industry, including Jeff Sneider on his podcast, The Hot Mic. Before the strikes, he reported that the Daisy Ridley-led, untitled Star Wars movie was set to be the next Star Wars film, and that Lucasfilm was eyeing an April 2024 start to production. This was a widespread belief, and given the schedules of both Mangold and Filoni, it made sense that theirs would take a little longer to get going. However, Sneider is now hearing that the Ridley-led New Jedi Order film is seemingly no longer the next Star Wars film looking to release in theaters. The news may come as a surprise, given that just recently the film's lead, Daisy Ridley herself, shared that she believes her Star Wars film was going to be the next Star Wars movie released in theaters. According to Disney's release schedule, the next Star Wars film is slated to be released on May 22, 2026. However, Sneider is now hearing from his source at Disney that this is no longer the case, and went on to share that the next Star Wars film to be released in theaters will actually be the 4th season of The Mandalorian, which is now taking shape as a movie instead of a season of television. Sneider said, quote, "A couple of months ago I shot this one down, that there were rumors that Season 4 of The Mandalorian could be turned into a movie. I think at the time I didn't think that was necessarily the case. However, that is now what I'm starting to hear. That the odds are in that project's favor, whatever Season 4 of The Mandalorian turns out to be, whoever is in it, what it turns out, whatever shape it takes, it is looking like that could be the next Star Wars movie, and that might be the thing that's announced before the end of the year." In July, 5 months ago, Making Star Wars reported that Lucasfilm and Disney were considering turning the 4th season of The Mandalorian into a feature film, and that executives quite liked this idea. Making Star Wars stressed that this was simply an option that Disney was considering, and was dependent on how significant of an impact the strikes had on The Mandalorian Season 4's production and other Star Wars productions. The 5-month report lines up perfectly with what Sneider is reporting now, though no credit was given to Making Star Wars during the Hot Mic initially, but was done so once a viewer and co-host of the Making Star Wars show, Sketchcraft, sent in a super chat to the show to credit MSW. It's likely that the strike had enough of an impact on everything, where the New Jedi Order film wouldn't be able to make that release date now. The 4th season of The Mandalorian is further along, more than likely with scripts already written in some essence, and with rumors that production was ready to begin as soon as the strikes were over, they're obviously ahead of the New Jedi Order film in production. The Hot Mic conversation moved on to whether Pedro Pascal would be available to star in the film, given his commitments to Fantastic Four and The Last of Us Season 2, both of which began filming early next year, and Weapons, a movie he shoots later in 2024. Based on how much the actor has going on in the imminent future, it seems unlikely that Pascal's face would ever show up on screen. Rather, it would continue to be a stunt double in the armor, and Pascal voicing over the scenes after the fact. The conversation then shifted to the idea of whether or not The Mandalorian Season 4 becoming a movie is a billion-dollar film idea, but Sneider added that he thinks that Lucasfilm is anxious to get a movie out into theaters, and that this is the quickest way given the world building that's gone into the time period, with multiple seasons of The Mandalorian, as well as spin-offs such as The Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka. Sneider added that perhaps the expectation of this release isn't to make $1 billion, but to just get the ball rolling in regards to finally getting Star Wars films back in theaters, with a more modest budget and goal. However, depending on what the larger fandom at large looks like when the promotion for the film begins, I think it is possible for almost any story to hit the $1 billion mark, because fans are eager to get back in theaters. The work required to understand the movie may hurt the numbers, as fans may feel that they have to watch 5 seasons of television, 3 from The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, in order to comprehend the 4th season movie. But I actually do like this idea a bit. I've seen conflicting opinions online, and I can see both sides. If the 4th season being turned into a movie gets us a Star Wars theatrical release before 2026, then I'm all in on it. The sooner we can get Star Wars back in theaters, the better. If the plan is for this to take the May 2026 slot, then it does raise some concerns. It would mean that there would be a 3-year gap between seasons 3 and 4, beating the roughly 2.5-year gap between seasons 2 and 3. There's also the question of if this would be the Mandalorian crossover event film that brings together the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew and a possible second season of Ahsoka would likely premiere by then, so it's possible that the 4th season of Mando would be a way to tie it all together. But personally, I think we need more from Din and Grogu based on where their stories ended, before a culminating galactic event makes sense. Let me know what you think of Season 4 becoming a movie in the comments below. Remember to like the video, and subscribe for more Star Wars videos, and remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you. Always.